Okay, I'm going to go back to my felt tip pen, go back to my background layer right here, and I'm going to select my green, and I'm just going to up the brightness a little, lower the saturation, and I'm just going to draw a shape that's going to represent a change in elevation, just small rolling hills in my park. Draw a couple of these abstract shapes here, just to add some visual interest to our park. And then I'll just go slightly brighter and add a bit of a peak. I'm doing this because to represent that this is a hill, the top of the hill, which is closer to the light, will get more light. And then as it falls off towards the grass, it gets gradually darker. And then if you want to add another one, just color pick from one of your previous hills by hitting the Option key to turn on your color picker. There we go. I'm going to hit my lasso tool and go back to my assets, lassos with L, and the assets layer you can find in your layers palette. I'm going to add in a few more bushes by hitting Command V, C and V. And lastly, before I start adding my copy, I'm going to add a protruding rock here in my pond. Again, I'm going to use my felt tip pen. I'm going to pick the same color as my sidewalk. And I'm just going to draw a shape right inside of my pond here. And maybe I'll use a darker shade just to show that it's coming up towards us. Lower your brush size or increase it as you need to with the brackets. I'm going to select white just by picking some of the white here in the background and making a fine brush by hitting the brackets and showing that there's pond ripples around our rock. And undo any lines you don't like with Command Z until you get it right. And maybe just a hint of this dark gray for just a touch of detail. One other thing I thought of, which is typical to a park, is I'm going to go back into my line tool. I'm going to select black. Again, you can also select black not just by going to your lagoon and hitting black, but you can just lower your brightness all the way down to 0. And I want to quickly draw an outer perimeter for my park so that maybe there's just a wall or a gate, because a lot of parks have that. And I'm going to use my line tool to just trace a thicker outline. And by making it thicker, I'm just increasing my brush size so that the line I draw is a bit thicker. And I'm going to quickly undo this because I realized I'm on the wrong layer. I'm on the assets. I want to make sure I'm on my background layer. So no worries, you can just quickly undo. And what I'll do is I'll fill this inner white with a green so that there is a trim of grass between the wall or gate. And I'll do that by using my flood tool, selecting the color picker with option, filling that in. I'll go back with my pen tool and pick black again. I'll go to the lagoon this time. Make your brush size the size you need it to be by hitting the brackets. And I'm going to draw what's going to be essentially my entrances and exits. So I'm going to make sure that my sidewalks can connect here to the outer wall. And then I'll use my flood tool and my eraser to open those areas up. I'll also need an area to enter with your car. And you can put these entrances and exits anywhere you like on your map. And what I'll do is I'll grab my flood tool again. Option to color pick this sidewalk color. I'm going to fill all these areas in. I'm skipping that parking lot one for a reason. And that's because I want to make this all the pavement color. And I'll fill this gap in a second as well. I'm going to go back to my felt tip pen, color pick my sidewalk color, and get rid of these lines. And you can just quickly do this, and as long as you don't really break the line, it doesn't need to be too perfect. And we'll use our hard eraser brush here on the toolbar to erase the black in just this area so that we have this illusion that there's an opening now and that anyone can come in and out as they need to. And I'll go back to my pen tool and make sure I get to black here in the lagoon, and I'll close this gap. My flood tool, select my color, and go back with my pen and just clean up. And remember, try to use a bigger brush if you have a bigger area so that you can clean up quicker, cover more ground. And lastly, what I want to do is something a little special. Is I'm going to go and create a new layer on top with the plus icon here, and I'm going to just create a bit of translucency in our pond, and I'm going to do that by selecting white, and I'm just going to paint the shape in here with the with my felt tip marker right on top. And right now it's opaque and it just looks pure white. But what I'll do is go back to the layers, and you'll notice this slider, this vertical slider. And if you scroll down, you can change the opacity. And you'll notice now it appears to be a lighter shade of the blue. It's still white, but now we kind of see through it. And here we can add just some little extra level of detail. Now, I just hit Command E to flatten both of those layers. So now my translucency stayed there, but it's all still part of my assets, and my assets are 100% opaque, but now I still have that translucent effect. And if I wanted to go in with my opaque brush and just add a tiny level of detail, and now that should be convincing enough to look like water. Last is to add some copy, and this will be our park. Okay, let's start labeling our areas. And I'm going to go into my layers palette and hit this T icon to edit my text layer. And I'm going to just start typing away. And I'm going to start with parking lot. And I'm going to click on my fonts icon here. I'm going to lower it to about 18. Select this. I'm also going to select my color picker. I'm going to change my brightness. I want this to be white and hit enter. Hit OK. And you'll see this is where I'll just place that. And I want my font size to be consistent, and I feel this is a little big, so I'm just going to go into my layers palette, click on this, click on the actual layer, and drag into Edit Text Layer, which is this text icon with the wrench. I'll go to my fonts and just adjust my size a bit. So let's go 18, and that's better. I'm also going to just keep hitting this text icon every time I want to add new text. I'll write the word pond. Again, I'll adjust the color by using the slider and dragging to the color I want and then hitting enter. Make sure I'm back on 18. Hit OK. Drag this right onto that, into the pond. I don't want to build up a lot of layers, so every time I'm satisfied with my copy, I'm just going to hit Command E and merge the copy layers together. So now when I toggle the visibility on and off by using the eyeball key, you'll notice both one layer and both words are going away. I'm gonna just keep doing this a couple more times. And if it's going to be on the green, I don't feel the need to change the color to white. Make sure you select what you've typed if you want to change it. Picnic tables. And I'll hit Command E to merge those layers again. I'll hit the text icon again. This time I'll write fitness area. And I forgot to change my size. That's okay. I just click on the layer and drag to edit text. It's already selected, so I just need to hit fonts and go to 18. Hit OK. And lastly, I have two more areas. I'll hit Command E again. And I have playground. Command E, and lastly will be our covered picnic area. And this time I won't forget to change our size. And before I call this done, I'm going to make sure I merge all of my copy together. Back in Assets, I'm going to go in, use my flood tool. I'm going to select white and make my gray squares a little easier to read. The gray and the green had too close of a value, so they were kind of blending in. And I think my parking area, I'm going to use my lasso tool, and I'm going to grab a tree. And I think my parking area can use some greenery as well. I'll Command C and V this one.